Hi, everybody. Welcome again to Easy Plant-Based Recipes. I'm Patricia. Today, I've been promising you for so long about it's easy and quick wheat bread, and you wouldn't believe it. And I also have a recipe with it that we're going to make at the end. This one goes fairly quick, so let's get started. You may notice too, I have one of my Scully aprons on. I'll put the link for that. I also been selling some lace jewelry and other things that you can also look at. And when I turn around, you'll notice that I also teach Zumba. So I got to make a video for that today too. But I really like to take care of my health. So that's why I'm doing all these things and helping others too at the same time with the skills that I have because I'm home now, and so I work, but I'm doing a lot of homework because I'm home. So here we are. Let's get started. Okay, so it's quick and easy whole wheat bread today. And the first thing is, we're going to get started right away on this, is our active dry yeast. Now you may get one container. You can use one of the packages. I like to save a little money if I can because I use it more often. And so what I'm doing is I'm using 2¼ it says it right on here, 2¼ teaspoons of this. Here's my teaspoon, one, and you want to make it pretty accurate because it is baking, right? 2, and I have my quarter here. Quarter teaspoon, there it is. There's our yeast. I'm going to put it right away because it does need to be cold. It lasts 6 months, if you didn't know. So I wrote the date on top, December 12th. Okay, there it is. Now, the recipe also calls for 1¼ cup of 105 to 115 degrees Fahrenheit water. So this I kind of know. Now, if you don't know, you can use a temperature gauge. Let me see what I did with mine. To check the water, okay? And because it's so cold here, it's almost 0 degrees here in New England. It's warming up a little with the day, but what I would do is I would be careful with that. I would use the higher amount to bring it over, and these bowls, get cold too. So 1¼ cup. I'm going to go to the sink. What I do is I kind of feel, it's funny how temperatures changed. When I was young, everybody had 98.6. Today, temperatures are all over the place on people. It's so weird, isn't it? I don't know why. And it's not just as we age, the temperature can go down, but it's everybody. And it's often lower than 98.6. But I kind of judge it and say, whoa, I kind of judge it, like, am I going to, feel ill? If you feel like, it's not too hot where you're going to get seriously die. But yeah, 105 to 150 degrees, you're up there and you can die. So can I, that's how I judge it. But you do it the way you do. And so I kind of feel, since I am experienced, what works and what doesn't. This is the killer of the yeast, is having it too hot or not hot enough, because they are live. Okay, I think I'm okay. There's 1 cup and 1¼ I want to double check. Okay, now what you want to do with this is mix it a little bit, okay? You also want to put in your honey because they eat sweet stuff, all right? So we have 1 tablespoon of honey that we're also adding, and this yeast is going to eat it. And they're going to be healthy. So I'm mixing that in too. Getting all that yeast. Some of them got up too high there. Mix, mix, mix. And I'm going to let this rest on a warm surface. I already preheated my oven here, so it's a good idea to get that preheated to 350. We are going to use some of that heat, especially if you're in New England. Now, if you're down in, it's summertime and you're watching this and you're in Arizona, don't worry so much. It might be too hot, so you can just keep it on the counter. So there it is. It's pretty well mixed. I'm leaving it on the stove. I don't want it to get too hot up there, too, because that can kill the yeast as well. But we're going to be quick. We're only going to leave it there a few minutes. All right, so the next thing is our flour. This is wheat flour. I've taken 2 3/4 cups. I already measured it, so that's ready to go. And we're taking 1 teaspoon of salt. Did I drop my teaspoon? Yeah, I did drop it. So instead of picking it up, and in case there is some wet on the ground, I'll just use this half teaspoon twice. And then what you want to do is take your whisk and mix, mix, mix. Make sure that's well incorporated together, the salt and the whole wheat flour. Next thing we're going to do, I think that's pretty well, we're going to get our oil. Now I've got the olive oil here, and it asks for light olive oil, which I guess this can be light enough. It's the extra virgin. It's not that flavorful. I think that's what they mean. You don't want something that, some of the more flavorful actually is more expensive. So you want it to be one that doesn't have a lot of flavor so that it overwhelms, makes the bread stronger in flavor, which we don't want. We want a nice light wheat bread, but hearty, flavorful in that it has that wheat. And we'll talk about that in a moment. Let's get this going. It's asking for 1 tablespoon. So I'm going to put that in this. And my tablespoon is here. There's that 1 tablespoon of oil right here. And then it's asking for, I'll just cut this lemon here, nice fresh lemon. 1 teaspoon. Don't want seeds. So here's our teaspoon, half, and 1 more half. All right, and that's all it is. Just mix that around. All right. I'm going to wait another minute on that. And while I'm waiting, I'm going to grease my pan. So I'm using a glass pan. You can use the metal, whatever kind of a bread pan you have. And the measurements are on the recipe, which is below. If you don't want to use cooking spray, because it has a chemical in it, you can use your coconut oil or any other kind of oil, vegetable oil, I prefer rather than this, because this has a higher smoking point, so you don't want to get any more brown than what you need on your bread. So use a light oil, and you can put it around it as well. This is nice because it beads well. That's why I use it. So I'd rather have the bread come up more easily than have to fight with it and maybe, lose some into the pan. I don't know if you can see that. It kind of shows. I'm getting better at this technology, I hope. I think you can see me better. And I did have, the last one we did was the nuts, and I'm going to show you how we can use the nuts today with this recipe. We did our roasted nuts, so I highly suggest that you check that out. All right, so I'm going to get that yeast now. The yeast mixture here is now. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to add this oil and lemon into it and just mix it. And then I'm going to put it right in with the flour. And at that point there, my handy dandy, I got this at King Arthur Flour in Vermont when I went. I thought it was so cute. It's got the ladybugs. And I'm just going to incorporate that together. See that? How it's coming all together with the flour. All right. Now I used a different flour than the King Arthur, and it seems a little bit wet. Sometimes as you make these things, I used a different flour because I'm running low on my King Arthur, and it seems a little bit wet than the last time I made it. So hang on. It will be moist, but it shouldn't be too moist. So I'm using a little bit extra, and it's fine if you use I would advise you to use the King Arthur flour. Okay. This other one is probably a good flour, and I wanted to experiment with it, but somebody gave it to me because they didn't want it. All right, this is better. Now I can knead it a little bit. I'm going to use my actual hands. Make sure your hands are washed. It is still a little bit wet. Funny how different flours are. So now it is a moist, it will be moist, but you don't want it too moist. Okay. Use the King Arthur flour. It's foolproof. Okay. But if you ever find that, oh my God, it's not kneading right or something, just use more flour. You know what I mean? It's this particular recipe does not have like the regular breads, if you've ever made breads before, where it's like really tough and you have to go like this to knead it. This one is a little bit moist. So don't worry. Don't say to yourself, oh no, it's too moist. But anytime you make a bread where it's coming out really moist, just add a little bit more flour. I think you'd be fine. And this is all getting mixed in. So right now what we're going to do is put it in the bread pan. And what we're doing is lining it up in this bread pan. I'll move this so that it's even on all sides, because it'll stay there and then your bread comes like this. And that's okay with certain breads, but not this one. We want to get it uniform with this one. And the reason is that we want this to cook evenly. Unlike other breads, which it doesn't matter if it does like that, like some of the more like sourdough and some of the other artisan breads. This bread here, we want it even. Don't ask me why. You know, the middle, the outsides cook a little faster than the inside, I think, and that's why I'm recommending that. Then, because it's cold here in New England, I'm going to put it on the heat. Sorry I get so, you know, talk on and on and on. But, you know, always ask me questions. And if you want to have a live stream sometime, let me know in the comments. Say, you know, we'd like one live, and I'll do a live one. And that will also be saved. Now, I'm going to show you the one that I made yesterday with the King Arthur flour. How do you like this? I'm going to cut it. Look how beautiful this cuts. I'm going to toast it right now and show you something. This one here, I put it on the stove where it's getting warm here in New England because it is cold. And we have to leave it there about 45 minutes. What you'll see, the bread will start rising. It'll like double. It should double, you know, but it's coming toward the top. So wait about 45 minutes and then it'll be ready to pop in the oven, and that's all it is. Once you pop it in the oven, you leave it there for about 35 minutes, okay? Then what I do is I check it in two ways. These are a nice thermometer. This is a digital. I put it on, I check it, make sure that it's 200, okay? 200 degrees in the center, okay? Not way down, but about midway, okay? At the same time as I'm checking for the temperature, I'm checking, is it done? For doneness, okay? So at that point, if it's not 200, I put in about a few more minutes, maybe 4 minutes more, leave it in there. Like the one I made yesterday, it was 98. It was, 198. And so what I did is I left it a few more minutes, and then I popped it back up and it was 204 degrees. So I'm like, this one's done. So I took it out. So be very careful. Don't leave it, too long, because what happens, it'll get too brown. It'll get too brown, and you don't want that flavor. If it does happen to get too brown, just cut it off. You can make tea sandwiches. I mean, you can still work with it, okay? It's a very hearty bread. So, if you can just cut off this, slice it down. It slices so easy. I'll just show you right now. You could slice some of that down. It slices so thinly that it wouldn't matter. It would still be a full bread. And you can make anything with it. And I'm going to show you what we're going to make now with it. An idea from our last class. So it's funny how these classes that I've been teaching, they actually go together. Some of them have combined, and this is one that does. So I'm going to show you a recipe that I made this morning with it, with our roasted, spicy and sweet roasted nuts we made from the last class. I'm just waiting for that toast to pop up. It's making it good and toasty. All right. So what I'm doing, I'll show you how we're going to do it. I am chopping finely those nuts. And last time I used pecans and walnuts and almonds. And you can see these are very finely chopped. Okay? Now, in my case, because I'm alone here, toast is ready. Oh, here it is. I'm taking my coconut oil. It is scrumptious. And you can use jam on it too. Jam is delicious with this. That's what I used to do till today. Now I know my favorite way of having this. Hang on, because you're ready. Don't leave yet, because this is so amazing, and I'm going to explain it to you too. I made just cinnamon with sugar. I like to use the pure cane sugar, okay? It's not refined like other sugars, but whatever you have. And I'm putting it on top. You could also use maybe brown sugar on this too. And I'm putting it on top. And I like it so much that I'm trying not to empty too much. You can see where when you make cinnamon sugar, you kind of empty some of it out. I'm not trying to empty too much there. All right. Then what I did is I put those spicy and sweet nuts on top. That's how I did it. Now watch this. It is so delicious. And what you could do if company is coming, you could take the coconut oil, you could take the cinnamon sugar, add it with it, mix it up, and mix the nuts in so that it's not falling apart like I did it so quickly here this morning and showing you this way. That would work. And I'm going to write it in the recipes for you below. I highly recommend that you try this recipe. I'm going to let you know how it came out with the other flour, where it was a little too wet and I had to add more. Like I say, I would recommend highly the King Arthur flour. That was foolproof, as you can see. You have the instructions below. You have the video to refer back to. which I highly would do if you're making it for the first time, because there are some little innuendos here that I explained to you. Um, and this on top, this icing on the cake, go back to the roasted sweet and spicy roasted nuts. This is the best way that I found yet to use them. All right, I'm going to let you go. We're at about 20 minutes. Have a great Valentine's Day, guys. Come back next month. We're going to do the next month. It's 2 days, right? But it will be soon. I'm going to show you a gourmet popcorn recipe, and there'll be a DIY with that. And then we're going to do something a little more advanced, but it's still easy and it's still quick. And that's our bean burgers. And I may even look for a lentil burger that you can use the same thing as well to make. So that's going to be more of our, more elaborate stuff that I told you. We'd bring some of the elaborate stuff too. But it's still going to be easy and quick. And then the month after, I've got 2 great smoothies for you. Now, these are not just fruit smoothies. These have special ingredients in it that you're going to love. All right. In the summer, we'll do some fruit smoothies then. So happy Valentine's Day, and I will see you next month. Take care.